I'm Deborah Gill for Parents TV. Today we're talking about ultrasounds, and every parent wants to know what their baby's going to look like. But today we're taking a look at a new tool doctors have to see what's really going on inside. Let's take a look.
So, Jennifer, everything we see with your baby looks great. What I'm going to do is go ahead and hit the 4D button, and let's see if there's enough fluid in front of the face to see the baby's face. You see the eyes and the nose. The very tip of the nose, you need fluid in front of the face to be able to see that part really well.
It looks more like a baby now than in my previous ultrasounds.
What's the most amazing thing that you can even kind of see features? I mean, can you start to point out, oh, she looks like me or like Dad? Or I mean, what is really exciting you about getting to see this much image?
I just think with the traditional ultrasound, you just get to see the profile, which is always fun, but you kind of always have to explain that picture. Here you show this and people really get an idea of what your baby looks like.
We've been performing two-dimensional ultrasound for decades now. And what came into play was three-dimensional ultrasound, in that basically it's a volume of the data instead of just points. Instead of black and white points, it's a volume acquisition. And so we've been calling that three-dimensional ultrasound. Then the fourth dimension is time. So it's the ability to watch in a three-dimensional computer simulation. It's not really three-dimensional because it's still on a flat plane, but you watch the fetus or whatever structure with real time. So it's the real-time, almost hologram type acquisition of ultrasound. It's the same energy as regular ultrasound.
You have another daughter, so you've been through this process before, but this technology is a little better, a little different, I'm assuming, than the last baby. How is it helpful for you to get to see this now?
The last one, we never really got to see her features like we can now. When I see these pictures today, it's kind of like, it reminds me of when our first daughter was born. Well, I mean, we can count 10 fingers and 10 toes now rather than wait until January, so it's always nice. And doctors are able to tell us that everything looks healthy, and we're not expecting any problems, so that gives us a little bit of relief.
See her cheek and her lips there? Let's zoom in a little bit on that. Or you can see the tip of the nose. Now she's moved her chin up. You can see her eyes. There's a foot. Actually, her foot is right up by her face. You can see her hand right there. See that? Yeah. And so this is basically, it gives us a little bit more information than the two-dimensional ultrasound alone. And fetuses will normally open and close their mouths, often at this age even open and close their eyes. It's a tool. It does not replace two-dimensional ultrasound. It helps problem solve. For example, there might be a suggestion of a defect such as a cleft lip. It's used very much for facial anomalies and musculoskeletal anomalies. So there might be a question of, is there this black line on two-dimensional ultrasound in the region of the lip? I think there is, or I'm pretty sure it is, but then by going to three-dimensional ultrasound and getting this global view of the face, we can not only determine that the defect is real, it's just another way of looking at it, but also really be able to see how severe it is. It helps me on a day-to-day basis when I'm evaluating a fetus, because I'm able to see different structures that I'm used to seeing with two-dimensional. I just see it in a three-dimensional way. To be able to see how the baby actually moves, and to be able to see fingers and toes in the whole plane. And once you get the volume, you can post-process, move it around, and see one structure in all these different planes. So I really think of it as a powerful tool.
What kinds of things do you need in place or that have to be in order for you to get a good, clear image?
It depends on the reason you're doing the 3D ultrasound. One of the things that is very important is to have enough fluid in front of the structure that you're looking at. If the baby is up against the placenta, you're not going to get a good picture with 2D or 3D. And then also parents' expectations sometimes are a little bit high that they're going to get this very nice picture. So number one is to have enough fluid. You need the fetus to be the optimal size for what you're looking at. At the very young fetus, there's not going to be that much subcutaneous tissue, not enough fat and skin, and therefore those babies, when we do 3D on them, they look very skeletoid. On the other hand, sometimes we want to look at the skeleton. So sometimes that is that's really what you want to have anyway. But the position of the baby, the fluid in front of the structure you're interested in are probably the two most important factors, and how big the baby is.
Do you suspect that as people know that this technology is available, that there will be more people that will want to come forward and say, I want a 4D ultrasound? Or is it still a tool for the doctor that you determine when you really need to do this?
Yes. This problem or this issue is already here. Last year I had to write a policy of who we do 3D ultrasound on, because we're a referral center. We see fetuses with problems, for high-risk pregnancies, and so our policy is that we use 3D in fetuses in whom we think there's something wrong, first and foremost. Overall, ultrasound is very safe, but we feel strongly that it should be performed only when medically indicated, to date a pregnancy, to see how the baby's growing, to look at the anatomy of the fetus.
Ultrasound technology has been around for years, but with this new tool, doctors and parents can see what is developing perfectly and any problems that may arise so they can be handled early. For Parents TV, I'm Deborah Gill.
Thank you for watching Parents TV, Our Families, Our Lives.